What's been the climate story of the year?
We have to find a solution to help people to have a better life with the impact of climate change. To engage for coordination for a free movement of people, capital, the same fiscal and monetary policy. We have to find a local solution to finance adaptation project in our region. We have to look to fix the real cost of capital for Africa.
Hello, and welcome to Conversations on Climate, brought to you today in collaboration with the Yale School of Business and the Environment. We're recording from Yale's inspirational campus, setting the stage for climate solutions going global. We'll share 3 compelling dialogues with distinguished Yale alumni who are pioneering sustainable change across the globe. We're joined by Mahamadi Balima, the head of sustainability finance at the West African Economic and Monetary Union. He brings a wealth of knowledge in climate finance, discussing the Union's groundbreaking initiatives. Together, we explore each of these regions' most impactful climate narratives of the year and delve into the global sustainability community's efforts to equip societies in developing countries to address the formidable challenges presented by climate change. These were a series of fascinating discussions, conversations that you won't want to miss. Well, Mahamadi, thank you so much for joining us today in the Kroon building here at the Yale School of the Environment. Really looking forward to having this conversation about financial disclosures, the West African climate. It's going to be wide-ranging, but there's an awful lot for us to cover. But before kind of introducing you formally, our theme today is climate solutions going global. And we'd just like to ask you, in your world, what's been the climate story of the year?
Okay, thank you to have me in this interview. I'm very honored to be here in the beautiful space of Yale School of Environment. And the big issue for our zone is that to find a way to finance project in our zone. So you know, Africa have a huge impact of climate change effect. So we have to find a solution to help people to have a better life with the impact of climate change. So.
Fantastic. And that has been the case for a little while, though, obviously. Is there one particular, this year, was there a big event that made you think, wow, something's changed now, wow, things are different?
The big event in this year is that all the eight countries in our WAM zone take confidence that the climate change is something very important, and you have to have a coordination of action to fight climate change impact, because we have a lot of issues this year in our zone. You know, in Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, we see advance of 15 meters. So we have a lot of things to do, but sometimes to find a good funding for the project is a very real problem.
Very difficult, yes, no, indeed. And that kind of leads us nicely to your position. Your current role is the head of sustainable finance at the Financial Markets Authority, which is a part of the West African Economic and Monetary Union.
Yes.
Before we go into detail on what that means, could you tell us a little bit about WIMU, what the organization does?
It is a union with 8 countries. Yes, to engage for coordination for a free movement of people, capital, and we have a same fiscal and monetary policy. and the same currency that's called CFA. So 8 countries decide to harmonize her view for the development and to do things together for all population on our region. It is 8 country, French speaker country, but you have decide to have a same future together and to make things very good for population. And in my role in capital market authority, you have to find a solution for financing the project on sustainable finance area. You know, in the global war we have Russia and Ukraine war, so sometimes it's very difficult to find financing outside the country in international level because all money is drive to support Russia and Ukraine crisis. So we have to find a local solution to finance adaptation project in our region. That's why I'm trying to do in my position.
Okay, so the goal, it's conceptually very similar to the European Union.
Yeah.
Yep. But with francophone nations in West Africa.
Yeah.
Yep. And the goal of WIMO is coordination. Yeah.
Exactly.
But just thinking about the countries involved, there is incredible diversity.
Exactly.
And the diversity of the ecosystems is mind-blowing, from the coastal regions through to the savannas, the shell, and the different vulnerabilities that will be within these regions. How do you deal with that in your role, like the different vulnerabilities at the start?
So what you do, each country have to establish in contribution determine. National determine. Each country have to thinking about which is the most issue we have in the country, and after that you compile all of a project in one document and coordinate the way to find financing to help each country to build a sustainable development goal, and to finance project. You know, our history of sustainable finance is come during the 2015. We established of SDG goal, and also with COP15 with Paris, where the capital market and stock exchange have decided to give a strong contribution to help country to finance project for adaptation project to fight climate change. So we have decided to help each country with a specific issue, because you know some country have a problem of sea, someone is problem of food. So we have a diversity of problem. You have to take each country specific, but to put it in global vision and to find solution for our region.
Okay, but is it? So it sounds like a multi-local approach where each country is considering the issues that is important to it. Is there a role for a common policy across the grouping?
Yeah. You know, each country is specific. So the role of UMOA is to coordinate all policy on the same policy and to decide why to find solution for each country. Is a bottom-up solution to from each specific country to go to the union issue and union policy to coordinate some activities to fight climate change.
Okay, interesting. So obviously we're talking on climate funding. And the climate funding for the most vulnerable economies is known as loss and damage. And it was a hot topic at last year's COP, and it's likely to be a hot topic again at this year's COP. But the only reason is that it's a hot topic is because the existing systems don't seem to be working. Yeah, so the existing systems don't seem to be allowing the capital to flow from the global north to the global south. What is your view of the state of global climate financing?
Yes, my view is in global financing is that the most polluter or most usual greenhouse country have to help those who don't you emit very little and need funding to adapt for climate change. So I hope during the COP 28 in Dubai, in the end of this month, you have a very a commitment of the big country like China, US, Russia, to take a very strong commitment to contribute to the less developed, the developing country like Africa and West Africa specifically, to have funding to adapt.
Of course. And why is there such a big gap between the political discussions and people saying it is important and understanding it's important and actual results? So you say you hope that this will be a strong commitment made at this COP?
Yeah.
It was made at the last COP.
Yeah,
but nothing's happened.
Exactly, exactly. You are right, but you don't know because the last COP we take a commitment, but what is say and the reality in how I feel is we have a large gap. What is done to help developing countries to fight climate change? So that's we have to find the right way to follow the commitment for each country and to be sure each country have follow commitment is take during the COP. So that's why for us we have a lot of projects, lot of issues in our zone, but to find international financing is very hard. So the commitment is just a commitment, but in reality, the gap is very large.
One of the biggest developments from last year's COP was Prime Minister Mahamadi talking about the Bridgetown Initiative. And how the global financial system needs to be transformed to be benefiting developing nations. It doesn't work as things stand.
Exactly.
And it seems like the group of African nations have adopted something very similar as their position for the negotiation position going into COP. Do you think that sort of initiative can help the climate finance flow from where it exists, but is actually far less impactful than it would be if it went to the global south? And if you do believe the Bridgetown Initiative or similar can help, why? So what is broken and what does the Bridgetown Initiative fix?
Okay, yeah, I think such an initiative is good and can give impact. You know, the developing country have to put together to coordinate your action to be strong. You know, for the past COP, African nations don't have opportunity to say something. Yeah, just focus on the big country, and so you have to have a coordination of action to make noise and to force other country to look at the specific case of Africa and to flow finance to compensate the impact of climate change in our zone, because the impact is very rude, and we need a lot of projects to finance and a lot of things to adapt, because our emission in greenhouse gases is very low, but the impact is very important. So we have to make sure we have a very vulnerable community here, and we have a lot of things to do to fight the climate change impact in our zone.
Okay, and going back to your expertise in finance, some of the main issues that the Bridgetown Initiative talks about are the differences in expense of the cost of capital.
Yeah.
So it's relatively much more expensive to be getting capital in the global south rather than the north, and also the currency risks. Or perceived currency risk to particular countries. How do you see those risks being taken on by the international community, and what adaptations of the Bridgetown Initiative are being put forward by the group of African nations?
Okay. First of all, for the cost of capital, it seems like it's right. The problem is cost of capital is right, but sometimes every expert in global world put risk on Africa systematically. You don't want to look specifically. Okay, I want to look the countries. The risk is very relevant or not. But if you say Africa, you have premium you put in the cost of capital, and the cost of capital goes very high. I know it's maybe because for the past years, Africa have maybe political and government issue problem. You have lot of curfew, and you have a lot of election problem. But now I think is more stable. So we have to look to fix the real cost of capital for Africa, and it's depend for each country. I think for us in WAMO zone, we don't have a problem of currency, because we have a fixed rate with euro. Euro is it is a strong currency, so we don't have a currency problem in our zone. Maybe in other zone like Nigeria, of Ghana, of on East Africa, maybe currency issue is very important. But our zone, I think we have a fixed relation with euro. So this relationship is fix our currency risk, and is can help investor to be satisfied for currency problem.
Mm-hmm. So, and kind of moving on slightly, although staying in the finance world, green bonds.
Green bonds.
Yeah, they are a $1 trillion industry.
Yeah.
And a global industry. However, only a 0.25% of that $1 trillion is in the entire continent of Africa, and that isn't. I don't even know how much of that is in West Africa. Suffice to say, there's issues, there's difficulties in getting green bonds issued by corporates or by governments coming out of Africa.
The first one, it is the additional cost for certification, You know, green bond, if you want to issue green bond, you have to be certified. You have to take a third-part opinion to see that, okay, your process is good, and this bond we want to issue or this project we want to finance is online of ICMA principle. So to avoid greenwashing, that's why the user can pay an additional cost for that. The second problem for our zone is that the institutional investor. So our institutional investor are not very sensitive for the problem of durability. So it just focus for the return. We have green bond and the interest rate is maybe 4%, and we have another vanilla bond with the interest rate of 7%. Yeah, the institutional investor just focus on the return. So you have to invest in several return, but you don't want to know in which sector this bond will invest. You just focus on the rentability.
Okay, and I would hope that this period of time is a time of great growth for green bonds in Africa, because the delta, the difference in interest rates between between Africa and between say Europe or the US, it's much tighter than it was.
Exactly.
So the opportunities there to be issuing green bonds must be much higher. You're going to have some fantastic projects that then become relatively more attractive to their US or their European counterparts.
It's true. That's why you have to have a market that's well known in international level. You know, we have some good projects, but international investor don't know our zone, don't know our market, don't know that we have a usual green bond, and don't know we have usual a green bond aligned with ICMA or CBI principle. So we have to have advertising to tell in global world that our zone have a good project and have a delta for interest rate, so you can come to invest in our zone, because you can get a delta for that. But those investors does know that we have a good market, a good place in secure market with all requirement to issue a real green bond, and invest in very good project. So that's why you can do to attract more international investors in our zone.
Yeah, and also in a currency that's tied to the euro. It seems like you need to be telling the story more. It's a very good story to hear. Yeah. So sticking with debt for a moment. Something like 75% of climate's funding has been in the form of debt, so going into Africa generally. Now, debt in itself in emerging markets, it does have a tendency to cause crises, and ultimately to be counterproductive, to not help in the long run. But counter to that, and it's something you were talking about a little bit earlier on, the continent, a new region, has fantastic natural reserves, and natural kind of carbon sinks and things that are essential for humanity. And there's a very interesting idea, which maybe you could talk about, of debt for nature swaps. For debt, Could you talk about that a little bit? And do you think that there's potential in your region for debt for nature swaps?
You know, our region have a potential, environmental potential and natural potential. So this swap is very difficult for local investor, because the local investor just focus on the rentability. So that's why it's very important to find a way to attract international investor in our zone and to use it for this type of debt and nature. So
I think a way of doing that would be to create the fiscal instruments. So, for example, a carbon credits. Can you see, has there been any movements towards building a carbon market, issuing a carbon credits in your region? Then I'm thinking that there's clearly a big need for good quality carbon credits from Europe and its cross-border carbon mechanisms and its functioning market. And considering the linkages that your region has, could there be a carbon market created for your region that is integrated with the European carbon market for trading backwards and forwards?
We have established the African Carbon Market Initiative. We work to establish carbon market in across Africa, and once this market is operational, we can switch with Europe carbon market and to find how these two markets can work together and to attract financing for our zone. You know, we have plenty activities in forestry, for carbon sequestration, and you need to bring and all of 8 countries we've moved to solar energy. So you have a credit carbon we can get for that. And our policy as established is working to establish a framework of credit carbon to sensibilize, to help the company that is doing something for our environment and our region to get credit carbon and to pay less taxes. When you in your income, you have a reduction, a discount of your income tax you have to pay to government to encourage a company to do something for environment and from climate change fighting.
Excellent. Okay, no, that's very very encouraging that there's innovation happening. Something else I'd like to kind of understand from your point of view from the Financial Services Authority is one of the big movements, again, in Europe and the US has been towards disclosure. And it's been towards then taking the climate disclosures and putting them into the financial statements and the balance sheets of companies. Is that sort of like things like the TCFD framework? Is that happening within your region, your region's companies and your region's kind of governments and banks?
Well, disclosure is very important for all companies. So in our region, we start for a listing company. That listing company have to make an extra financial report to say that your ESG engagement and what you've done in environment and social government. That's why I start yet with listing company. And other side, the central bank is working with banks to put it on a balance sheet and but in Africa we have the issue of data. Data is to collect data is very difficult. So you go very slowly with bank and to help them to compete with data and to disclose with data. But it's a little bit take a time in our zone because don't have a good framework to collect data and environmental and social data in our zone. So we have we know the criteria, but go slowly with bank to collect data and to disclose them to the international investor. That's why it's very important. This disclosure can help international investors to come to our market and to invest in our project.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. Okay. So just as a final question, if I may, what's the impact that you've seen of your time at Yale on your career, your current job?
Yeah, Yale have a great impact of my career and our zone, because the UMOA is focused of coordination. So we have lack of coordination. We have to coordinate more, to have a strategy for our zone, for clean energy, for green thing in our zone. But also we have a lack of a training. Yeah, you have to have good information, like to have technical assistance. So it's very important for us to develop a knowledge and current knowledge, and to have a update information that's the debate in international level, and the information how to do things very better.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That was a really good conversation. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.